depending on where in the world you are joining us from. Looks like we've got people from different places interested in different programs, so we're really excited to have you all here for our webinar. My name is Christy Mino. I work here in the Central Grad Admissions Office at NYU, and I'm really excited to welcome you and have us joined by 3 admissions officers from different NYU graduate professional schools here to share their insight into the graduate and the graduate school admissions process. A few housekeeping items before we get started. Closed captioning is available if you use the button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. We'll keep the chat open for a little bit and encourage everybody to share where they're joining from and what program you're interested in. And then in a little bit, we're going to turn the chat off and encourage you to use the Q&A box, which will just allow us to more easily make sure we're answering questions as good as possible. I'm just going to note that said someone can't hear me. So if there are multiple people who can't hear me, please put that into the chat. Otherwise, hopefully you can adjust your mic settings a little bit to be able to hear me better. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into today's session and ask our panelists to turn their cameras on. Oh, hold on just a second. Okay. Perfect. And then, okay, awesome. Sorry, just trying to tackle a couple back end things and we're ready to get going. So with today's session, again, we've got 3 reps from different NYU graduate schools. I'm going to ask them to begin by sharing a short overview of their programs in the school, their school and the programs that they offer. They'll share some admissions requirements, some general information, and then I'll jump into some questions that I have prepared. But again, we'll keep our eye on the Q&A box and ask those questions in real time as well. So in just a minute, we're going to turn off the chat, so we'll make sure we don't miss any of those questions. And we're going to jump right in. Maybe if you want to go to the next slide. I think, Sarah, you are up first to share your Wagner overview. You can do a short introduction of yourself, your program, your schools, and then we'll turn it over to John from Stern, and then Cheryl will wrap things up with you, and then we'll jump into the questions. So Sarah, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you so much, Christy. I am so pleased to be here and to share information about NYU Wagner with you all. NYU Wagner has been a part of the New York University system since 1938. We are a professional school that is designed to train public service leaders, and we offer a variety of different programs in order to do that. A lot of people ask, what is public service? Our full title is the NYU Wagner Graduate School of Public Service, and public service really is turning ideas into action that positively impact communities. So whether that's in terms of administration, policy creation, management, leadership, urban planning, that is what our students are focused on. So we have a variety of different degree programs, including 2 MPA programs in public nonprofit management and policy, and also in healthcare management and policy. Both of these have really strong foundations and focus areas on business-related aspects, including finance, statistics, and economics, because at the heart of policy creation is economics. So that is something that our students are prepared to do. We have an urban planning degree, which is a policy-focused degree program. So our students are able to choose between city and community planning or international development and planning. And then we also have executive MPA programs, PhD programs, and an MSPP program, which is a specific Master's of Science in Public Policy. So just a quick overview of our application requirements. Everything is listed here. It's very similar to other NYU graduate schools, including essays, resume or CV, copies of all of your transcripts, 2 letters of recommendation. There's an optional video essay. The GRE or GMAT is optional unless you're applying for our PhD program, in which case it is required. If you attended an institution where English was not the medium of instruction, you will have to provide us with a TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo score. If you attended an institution outside of the US or Canada, you'll have to provide us with an international credential evaluation for the review process. This is something we need at the beginning of your application. And then you can provide us with optional supporting documentation, writing samples, portfolios, things of that nature. and then there's the application fee that's part of the online process. There are a variety of different funding opportunities that NYU Wagner offers, and I'd love to go into these if you have questions later. But there's the Public Service Scholarship that is awarded to applicants, and over 50% of our applicants are considered and awarded some sort of funding through the Public Service Scholarship. We also have fully tuition funded fellowship opportunities. There are also opportunities for assistantships in teaching, research, or graduate areas. And then we have a bunch of partnerships, scholarships as well, including PPIA, AmeriCorps, City Year, and McNair, just to name a few. Our deadlines are coming up for spring. If you're interested in the spring semester, November 3rd will be the final deadline for our in-person programs. And then if you're interested in fall 2025, December 1st is the deadline that you should be concentrating on. And I'd also love to tell you a little bit about our career services. Christy, how much time do I have?
Yeah, go for it.
So NYU Wagner is one of a couple of schools at NYU that has its own dedicated career services center. So our students get not only access to the incredible Wasserman Center for Career Development, which is for all students at NYU, but Wagner students also get their own targeted career services center that is just for Wagner students. And you get this starting on day one of your time at Wagner. So our career advisors have really strong connections in the industry, not just in New York, but all around the country and around the globe, that connects our students with industry professionals who are able to provide insights and opportunities for our students for internships and for job opportunities outside of graduation. In addition to that, there are one-on-one advising sessions that you can have with a career services team member. You can have practice techniques for interviewing. You can have people give you advice on your resume. You can figure out how to craft the perfect cover letter. And they also host events almost weekly that are industry-specific events where they bring in experts from around the industries that are specific to NYU Wagner students and our focus areas, that will be able to shed light on the career opportunities that exist in those areas. So it's an incredible resource, and our graduates get access to this for life. So you are able to come back at any time for help with revamping your resume, 10, 15 years after you graduate. If you're making a pivot or you're thinking about a new career change, our career services team will be there ready to help you. So I'll pause there and pass it over to, I think John, you said was next, Christy?
That's right. Thanks, Sarah.
Everybody, thanks so much for having me today. I'm really excited to talk to you about NYU Stern. My name is John Graham. I'm a director of admissions here, and there are many different programs at Stern. You will notice that there are many, many master's programs, some for early career professionals, some for experienced professionals. We have several different MBA programs. So really, I'm going to focus on our MBA programs today, specifically the full-time and part-time MBA, as well as our focused MBAs. We have two different focused MBAs, one focusing on luxury and retail, and one focusing entirely on technology. In general, we have a pretty standard application process across these different MBA programs. We ask for one recommendation letter, and we require that this be from your current supervisor. And one of the reasons why we are asking that it be from a supervisor as opposed to, let's say, an academic recommendation is that we're really using this to understand your emotional quotient. You will hear often at NYU Stern, it is the IQ plus EQ admissions process. We're looking at your academic readiness for a rigorous MBA program, but also what it's like to work with you. What are you like collaborating in a group? This is a very collaborative program, and so we want to make sure that you work well with others. And a current supervisor can really give us key insights into that. If you are an international student, we do ask for your transcripts. If they are not in English, then we would need to have a WES evaluation. And if your native language is not English and you did not, or you didn't study in an undergraduate institution where English was the primary language of instruction, we would need a TOEFL or an IELTS or a Duolingo, basically some sort of English proficiency exam. All students will be required to submit a professional essay. And the professional essay asks what your career goals are. We want to know your short-term and long-term goals because this really helps us when it comes to preparing for the career aspect of this program. We have two different careers offices, one focused entirely on the full-time MBA students and one on the working professional population. And so the recruiting processes can be different. And so we want to make sure we understand what your career goals are. And if there ever is a career goal that you have that we feel would really be best suited for a program that features a summer internship, like a full-time MBA, we would most likely reach out to you and let you know of that so that you can make an informed decision. Additionally, we have fun essays. They're picture essays. So for the full-time MBA and the focused, they are the pick six. These are 6 pictures with little blurbs. There is no right way to do this. This is really just fun. Be yourself. This is another way for us to learn a little bit more about you. For the part-time MBA program, it is the person, place, and thing essay. Very similar concept, pictures, blurbs, have fun with it. We'll need a resume, and then we'll need transcripts from all the schools that you ever attended. Additionally, we also ask that you come to an interview if you are in the full-time or focused in MBA. This lets us get to know you a little bit better and we get to ask some questions. And a helpful tip I have if you are invited to one of those interviews is to research the industry that you're really interested in and have a solid understanding of what the recruiting process is like, because they will most likely ask a little bit about that during the admissions interview. The part-time MBA does not require an admissions interview. We rely on the EQ endorsement, and if there's ever questions or anything like that, we'll just reach out and call you. And finally, we do have a variety of different scholarships across programs. These are merit-based scholarships. You will be assessed for and evaluated for these scholarships at the time of admission, and you will know in a follow-up letter after you receive your admissions letter if you received a scholarship. Additionally, there are also fellowship and teaching assistantship opportunities while you're here at Stern. And there are also scholarships for part-time students once you've hit 50% of the program. So once you've hit 30 credits, you'll be evaluated for the merit-based scholarships that we have for part-time students. For the full-time and part-time MBA, this is a 60 credit program. We do not accept transfer credits. For the focused MBAs, they are smaller. They are focused, so the curriculum is slightly different. The full-time and part-time MBA is really designed to give you foundational fluency in all areas of business, and the electives allow you to specialize, really hone in on something that really speaks to you and that you're passionate about. Focused MBAs are very specific. They are learning about business through the lens of the luxury and retail industry or the tech industry. And so they feature an experiential learning opportunity, somewhat of an internship, but much more of an academic experience. And so that is a feature, basically part of the focused MBAs. So that's it in a nutshell. I don't want to talk too much, so I will pass it along to Cheryl.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Cheryl Ward. I'm one of the I think I just froze. Yes, I'm one of the admissions officers here at the School of Professional Studies, and we are industry-based program. Our programs lead directly to specific industries, and there's some that will help you obtain advanced knowledge in your particular background or industry reach. I do have a slight slide. Yes, can I share? Yes. So just to give you an idea. Okay, so our admissions requirements are pretty straightforward. We practice a holistic admissions review process, meaning everything that we look at is used in the decision process. There isn't one component of the admissions process that will make or break your application. We're looking for more academic and professional fit for the program. We have a practitioner-based program where everyone in the room is learning from everyone else in the room. So the professor isn't the only source of information in the room. You're learning from your cohort and you're learning from the professor. And we're looking for someone to fit in the atmosphere that can give and take in this learning adventure that our students undergo. With that, the admissions process is listed here, and it's pretty straightforward. One letter of recommendation. We need all college level transcripts that you've attended. You need to upload a detailed resume. That is very important because it allows us to see you in your professional aspect, as well as give us details regarding your background. The verbal and time written reflections. This is a new component to our admissions process. It's under the Kiera Talent Assessment. It allows us to do that interview component of the application process and allows us to get to know you better. So the questions are geared to learn about you. It is not a test. It is really to learn what are you thinking, where you are, where you want to go, what your goals are, and how do you want to utilize this degree towards that goal. So there is a way to prepare to be you. So we really want to get to know you as the applicant because that allows us to see how you would interact in the classroom, as well as later on in life, what your goals are and how you plan on using this opportunity to obtain those goals. For our international applicants, we also, in addition to the previous requirements, you will have to submit a evaluation of your transcript. So if you did not attend a US-based school, you would need to submit a letter evaluation from any of the 6 companies that we have listed on our website. It should be done prior to the admissions process and is used in the admissions process to make a decision on your application. In addition to that, if your medium of language, your medium of instruction or your language of instruction is not English, you would need to take a TOEFL or IELTS exam. Those exams would, of course, be sent to us by the testing agency, and you just have them send them directly to us. Pretty much that's it. It's pretty transparent. I want to highlight the personal statement and the written verbal exams. Please do let us know what your goals are. If you're changing careers, we have a lot of career changes in our program. This is how we get to learn about you in that room while we're making those decisions. So definitely let us in on what your thought process is. And also your detailed resume, please do list those details because the skill sets are definitely used in the decision process. Going on to our deadlines, we have a different deadline tier now. So if you're familiar with our old deadline system, they have been upgraded and updated on the website. Our deadlines are unrolling because we understand people's life situations are different. So our deadlines are definitely more flexible. If you've missed one, there's no negative connotation of missing a deadline. You're just going to apply to the next deadline. And we hope that this allows our applicants to tailor their academics and when they plan on attending school with us to be a little bit more flexible in our review processes. But in general, overall, our school is definitely industry geared. We have some business degrees as well as some generalized degrees as well as global affairs and public relations, public relations and corporate communications, as well as project management. So those degrees allow you to tailor the graduate experience to your upcoming industry endeavors or to continue where you are. So we meet students in different stages of life, whether they're coming out of undergrad or they're currently in the workforce or they're changing their view or changing their trajectory in their career path. It allows them to do that and in a flexible manner. They can attend classes hybrid, on-site or online. So it allows the applicant and all of you to basically achieve your goals while you're continuing in your life. We are cognizant of the fact that you are working adults and the program is geared that classes are held in the evenings mostly, as well as on weekends. And there are some of the options to hold them in the daytime. So we definitely try to be as flexible as possible to allow you to engage and to achieve your goals and your career paths.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, and thank you to everyone for those overviews. I think it's really helpful to see it all as a big snapshot and get a picture of, okay, what am I getting myself into? What do I need to think about? There are a few specific and targeted questions in the Q&A, so I'm just going to put 1 or 2 of those out there now, and then we'll transition to talking a little bit more about your tips, advice, insight for when you're working on your application. But John, there was a couple questions about the early career MBA, looking at requirements, and then also also, where did that question just go? Minimum work experience for the full-time program. So if you could talk a little bit more in detail about the early career MBA, the full-time MBA, and then those entry requirements.
So when I said like early career, there's like early career masters. This is not necessarily an MBA, but there are master's programs that cater to an early career professional who want to dive into something like accounting or business analytics. I would say the MBAs overall like to see at least 3 years of work experience. The full-time specifically would like to see at least 2 to 3 years of work experience because you are going to be recruiting for that summer internship almost immediately. Some of the industries are even before you arrive here at Stern. And so you are going to be working with the careers team as you are getting ready to come to New York. So this is something where they really want you to have some experience so that you can make a very sound decision when it comes to why you want an MBA and what you feel you'll get out of it. It can be a lot to go through the recruiting process for investment banking or consulting, only to find you hate those careers. So they do want you to have a bit of background just in the workforce in general so that you can make an informed decision. I would say if you have less than 2 years of experience, wait and apply later for one of our MBA programs, specifically full-time and the focused MBAs. If you're located, domestically or around the city and you're interested in a part-time program, that can be one where folks are really trying to figure out where they want to go in the world of business. There's a little more breathing room. You can take a little bit longer. You can do it while you're working. So that one doesn't have as strict a requirement when it comes to minimum work experience. But the other ones do for the reasons I mentioned. It's a very grueling process to go through the recruiting route. And so they want you to know what it is that you want from this program.
Awesome. That's really helpful. Thank you, John. The next question that's coming up a few times is getting transcripts evaluated. Anyone can answer this, but the few that I'm seeing are specific to SPS programs. And Cheryl, since you mentioned them, could you elaborate a little bit? There's a specific question and concern around cost. And so if there's any wiggle room in terms of NYU helping with fees, alternate options, any insight you can share on the getting transcripts evaluated would be helpful.
For SPS, pretty much we only accept evaluations from 6 different companies. As far as assistance with fees, unfortunately, we don't have that available at the moment. But basically, the process is you have your school send your official documents to one of the agencies you choose. We don't have a preference, it's just one of the 6. And that agency, of course, you follow their processes and rules and regulations as far as what it's considered an official document. Then you will have them send your document to us in addition to the transcript. That satisfies 2 requirements, the evaluation as well as the transcript. And they're sent, most of them with one exception, will send it to us electronically. So it's a pretty fast process when it comes to transmitting the documentation. They have varying cost levels. So there are different price levels that you can look at that would accommodate some budgets. But there, you would have to directly deal with that company as far as payment is concerned.
Awesome. Thank you, Cheryl. Sarah, could you talk a little bit, and this also could be a question for all panelists, about taking classes outside of your program? Specifically, if you're a Wagner student, can you take classes at Stern or SPS and vice versa? So maybe this is jumping around a little bit, but before I forget, we'll answer that one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. One of the benefits of being a part of the NYU family is that our students can take elective credits outside of NYU Wagner. So if there is a class that you are interested in taking that's at the School of Law or the Stern School of Business, the Silver School of Social Work, all of the other graduate schools within NYU, you would be able to, with the help of your advisor, cross-register and take those classes to fulfill your elective credits. If there are, so we do have a list of pre-approved electives that our students have already taken advantage of. And so our faculty have evaluated those courses and found that those courses meet the requirements of the MPA program or the urban planning program, whatever program that you're enrolled in. And so those classes have already been pre-approved. But if there's a class that you find that is not on that list, it's a really easy process that your advisor would be able to help you with in terms of getting a copy of the syllabus and being able to write up a very brief proposal about why you want to be taking this class, how you feel this class fits into your curriculum and your ultimate career goals as a graduate of Wagner. And then the faculty would be able to evaluate the syllabus and approve that class for you to incorporate into your class schedule. So it's a really great way to provide flexibility and options for our students. And we have students taking classes all across the university, even at Tisch School of the Arts. So, you know, it's really about showcasing why that class is going to be beneficial for you. That goes into that process.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah. John, Cheryl, are your students able to take classes outside?
Yeah, I'm gonna drop this in the chat right now. So we have a pretty big list of pre-approved classes as well. At Stern, you can take up to 5 classes outside of Stern as part of your MBA. And there are many, many that we have pre-approved. So these are classes where you really don't even need advisor approval. This is something where they have established that these are fine and that they will apply to the MBA program. Some of our specializations, like business law, for example, require that you take classes at a place like the law school. So this can be interdisciplinary if you want it to be. There's also a process similar to what Sarah described, where you can submit a request that a class you feel like should go towards your MBA, but is not pre-approved, basically requesting that it be approved. And so I dropped in that link as well, just so that you know that there is a process. If you don't see something that you really want to take on this list, we have had students make it happen before. So there's definitely a process there.
As far as SPS, it really is program specific, but there is room for you to take classes with approval of your advisor. Anywhere else in university, you have to meet their regulations as well as ours. And you can, of course, take classes within majors or within concentrations at in SPS itself. So a lot of our students do that to tailor their degree to their own specific goals and pathways. So yes, you can. Really, there isn't a list, only because if you can, defend it with your advisor and it makes sense, you will, and you get a permission from that particular school, you can take any class that would help you towards your degree, your career goals.
Great. Thank you all so much. I think that was really helpful. Shifting gears a little bit now to talk about the financing piece of things. We recognize that NYU graduate school, professional school, it's an investment, both in your time, but also in your resources. So I know you all mentioned scholarships that are available. Are there other things that you advise students to consider thinking about or look for funding from other sources? Or what do you see are some ways that students are able to help support their studies financially? And I'll open this up to anyone who'd like to jump in.
Yeah, I'll start. So yes, absolutely. Funding is one of the key decision-making aspects of where you're going to attend graduate school. And at Wagner specifically, as I mentioned, we are able to award a little bit over 50% of our students with some sort of funding. The vast majority of those scholarship awards, the public service scholarship awards, are partial for tuition only. We have a very limited number of our fellowships that are fully tuition funded, but we also really encourage applicants, particularly those who are thinking about starting in the fall semester, to use the external funding resource page that we have on our website. I just put it in the chat for you all. These are external scholarships that are available from foundations, organizations who are looking to help graduate students. The majority of these are grants and scholarships that you don't have to worry about paying them back. And the process for this is now. So the same time that you're thinking about applying, the deadlines are November and December for these external scholarships as well. A lot of times students start the external scholarship search too late and they miss out on the deadlines for applying for external scholarships. So please research these as soon as you can so that you can take advantage of these funds that are being offered to graduate students from all sorts of different foundations. So definitely look at external sources. NYU Wagner has an extremely supportive financial aid team. So if you are interested in talking with our team members about funding, we offer help with creating your budget, really thinking ahead to what it is that you're going to need if you do have to take out loans, completing that FAFSA on time and as quickly as you can in your application process. You don't have to start it when you get your decision. You can start your FAFSA as soon as it is open to you, and only taking out the loans that you need, not taking out too much, because graduate school loans, those accrue interest right away. So, we really counsel our students to try to minimize the debt that they end up accruing because of graduate school, because, we want our students to feel happy and comfortable with their decision to attend graduate school. Also, I would say, really just thinking about how you can minimize your costs and minimize your, thinking about your rent, thinking about, the classes that you're going to be taking, and also taking advantage of the resources available through the Bursar's office at NYU, including payment plans and the deferred tuition payment options that the Bursar has available to NYU students. So I'll pause there and then let my colleagues chime in.
Well,
Yeah, I also,
sorry, John.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Funding, like everything Sarah said is applicable as well. When it comes to funding, really, I think we all share the same information as far as like how to go about funding. Follow the FAFSA as soon as possible. The admissions process and the FAFSA process should happen at the same time. And you should definitely think about and plan for the financial part of your degree, and practice fiscal responsibility when it comes to knowing what your bandwidth is. I've placed in the chat links to our financial aid page that'll give you a generalized view of each type of financial aid that we offer, and some scholarship references as well as merit scholarships. We do have the SPS scholarship that is offered to all students is based on financial need for domestic applicants, as well as some merit-based scholarships that are offered to you based on your academic prowess. So most international students can qualify for some of that aid as well. Then in addition to that, we also have the departmental scholarships, which are degree specific and really are run by our alumni, which we have an extremely strong alumni force, as well as industry interests. So we have different companies that will offer financial assistance to people and different grants and scholarships based on industry specific programs. So we can go online that website as well and look up departmental scholarships. And not every program will have one. And also you want to be cognizant of the time of year, because some of them do expire and then the year has to be reevaluated. So there's certain times of the year where there's scholarships more available than others. So just keeping abreast of that particular page, you can see what's available. Also, on the bottom of that page, if you need more assistance, we do have our financial aid team that's there to help you find resources to help you, both international and domestic, to help with the cost of tuition.
I also wanted to share, so Stern also has an outside scholarship database. I do think it's worthwhile just to look at it, even if you don't come to Stern. These are not Stern specific. These are external agencies who can provide funding. And so I think exploring any and every opportunity for funding outside of the school to just help know what it is that you have available whenever you embark on whatever, master's degree journey you go on. I think that that's really great. I always recommend that students really plan for what they know to be true right now. You don't know if you're going to get a scholarship. And so I think that when it comes to planning and really making sure you're ready for this experience, assume that you won't. And then if you get one, it'll be a really happy surprise. And then that means that you'll have excess funding because you've already planned with other sources. Some tips to find funding that you don't need to pay back. There are loans, and we have a financial aid team also at Stern who can help you, but I definitely would look into any sort of service organizations that you ever worked with, either as, a teenager or as an adult. A lot of them might have funding available. I would look at any past employment opportunities or your current employer. A lot of employers will help finance if you guarantee to come back. So it's something that you could negotiate with them, even if it's a full-time experience and you'll be leaving them, sometimes they will have an agreement where if you come back and work for them for X number of years, they will finance either all or a portion of it. So I definitely would look into either past or current employers as well. And finally, if you do want to explore loans or payment plans, I'm going to drop in Stern's financial aid website. So we have our own financial aid office as well, and they'll be there as a resource when it comes to really just figuring out which loans are the best for you, how can you budget, and are payment plans worthwhile? And I think that it's always good to explore those, especially the monthly payment plans. They can be helpful just in breaking apart the payments so it's not such a large amount at one given time. And that'll just help you kind of expand it and allocate your resources with a little more control.
That's great. Thank you all so much for that. I think that's really helpful and valuable things to consider. In the vein of things to consider before you go to grad school, I'd like to ask you all to weigh in on your advice or things that you share about students who are on the fence about whether grad school is right for them. Either they started their application and they're halfway through, like, oh, maybe not, or they haven't started, or they're accepted. What are factors or things to consider when making the decision to enroll in a graduate or professional program? Anyone can start with this one. Go ahead, John, you unmuted, so jump right in.
I think the biggest thing to consider is what you want your career to look like 5 years from now. All of these master's programs, for the most part, are professional programs. They are designed to help give you the skills necessary to embark on a new or current professional journey, but potential advancement. So really, just have a conversation with yourself when it comes to what am I doing right now? What do I want to be doing with my career? And is there a program that can help me get there? Because I do think it will help you decide which program would be the best fit for you. What skills do you need to be able to get into your industry, the target industry or the target function? And what are the recruiting processes like? I think doing a little bit of research, like, do they get all of their new talent from a summer internship? That really does play a huge part in what kind of program you're looking for. It should give you, resources to get an internship. Or does it not? Is it really, variable and it's about networking? What program gives you that expansive network that's going to allow you to meet certain people or just be introduced to folks who have decision-making power? I think really determining what it is that you want professionally and then working backwards from there. That's my advice.
Yeah, I would have to absolutely agree with what John said. We advise our applicants who are on the fence to, as John said, thinking about what they want their careers to look like, and also looking at their current network, the people around them whose careers they admire and who they, that they aspire to. What did they do? What choices did they make? Not that you have to recreate their journey, you're your own person, but using that as a way of going, okay, this person has an MPA, this person has an urban planning master's, this person did internships at this place or this place, and using that as a blueprint for how you're going to map out your career can be really impactful. Set up coffee chats with these people, set up informational meetings with people in your network or people who are just people in the industry whom you admire. Most people are genuinely interested and will be available to help you as a mentor to, asking them about their career journey, what they went through and the decisions that they made. And that can be really impactful.
I'm definitely going to chime in with the others as far as everything they said. In addition to a lot of our students, for some of our programs, are coming directly out of undergrad and have not started that career path. So basically, look for the skill sets that you would want that will help you make that decision. So a lot of our programs are there to help them wean that out and to decide what path they want to take. We have some programs that are very wide berth as far as what their application can be. And then some are very specific. Our Master of Science in Real Estate, you're in real estate. It's a business degree in real estate. So it definitely helps you obtain that experience if you're coming out of undergrad or you're just starting out, to get that experience and that networking experience. So if that's what you need, if that's what you need to obtain your goal, then that's the best program for you. But the same degree can apply to someone who's just finished law school and need that real estate experience to enhance their law degree. So it's really whether or not the program meets you where you are now, and as what John said, where you plan on being in the future, and to think in the now, but prepare for the future. So it's really what your bandwidth is, as well as far as like your other obligations, life, family, connections, job. So all of that, see if a program meets those needs and can fill into your life and fit into your life to enhance your future life.
Thanks all. That's great advice. I definitely think the career orientation part should be key and center, but I do think, or I find when I'm sharing advice, I forget to build in that life piece of it. Life's a big part of it. It is a huge time commitment. It does take up a lot of energy. So that's a huge factor for sure. And I think the nice thing about grad school is a lot of times you have students from all different backgrounds in your classroom and in your program. And so you're able to take some of that in from other folks. So your career journey doesn't have to look exactly the same as someone else's, which is really nice. My next question is going back to the application process and thinking a little bit more about advice or insight into things that you notice, like the small mistakes that folks are making, the little things they're like, I wish I could just shake you and say, why did you do it that way? So what are some of the things that, advice that you have for people who are working through their application, either ways to, start that research process and keeping all that information organized, or knowing exactly how to, factor in or organize your application materials, or just NYU specific, like, hey, just don't do this on your application.
I am going to jump in there so fast. I've been doing this now for about 28 years. And my biggest pet peeve are people who don't follow instructions. We're very transparent on what our requirements are, on what we want, and we're not doing any acrobatics. Follow the instructions on the application, because that shows us if you can follow instructions in the classroom. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, is you're a student in a classroom. You're there to learn, and you're there to give and share, but you're also there to learn. And filling out the application the way the application is stated is pretty straightforward. The other thing is not checking, oh, how can I say this without, not checking your application, not checking your work. There are many different software applications I use them daily. I don't think I can get through life without using them. That would help you with that. Speak to someone who knows you but don't know what you're going for. If your essay makes sense to them, or your personal statement makes sense to them, if what you're doing makes sense to them, or if you're able to get across what your wants are and what your desires are to someone else, then that means you can get to me when I'm reading your application. But really is to be yourself. We don't want Taylor Swift. We don't want, I mean, if she wants to apply, but we don't want someone else. We want you. You're unique to us, and we want you. We don't want some made up persona that when you get here, the fit is not that great, because we have to be a good fit for you as well as you a good fit for the program. So we definitely want to see the real you, and no one else can be that but yourself.
Yes, absolutely. I have to chime in, agreeing with everything that Cheryl mentioned. Specifically, one thing that I would like to mention that I've noticed recently is letters of recommendation. I can't tell you how many applicants end up not getting reviewed because their recommenders never completed their letters for them. And that's really heartbreaking, because you have done everything that you need to do, and you're relying on a recommender to fulfill their responsibilities for you, and they're not doing it. So advice that I have for applicants that are starting this process, and again, this is a process that you're going to have to go through no matter where you are applying. The first step, talk to your recommenders before you input their information into the application. We get so many responses from faculty members or from professionals who go, this person never asked me to write a letter of recommendation for them. I don't feel comfortable doing this. So that is your first responsibility as an applicant, is making sure that you speak to your recommender and ask them if it's okay. The second thing is input their information into the application as quickly as possible. For Wagner School, the moment you input their contact information into the application, they get contacted by Wagner. So you don't have to worry about submitting your application in order to start that process. Input their information as soon as you get the green light from them that they're willing to be a recommender for you. The third thing is tell them when they need to complete this by. And I always tell applicants, it's okay to lie in this situation. Give them a date that's a week beforehand. Tell them it's due earlier than it actually is, so that you can be sure that that letter is turned in. At the end of the day, yes, you're relying on someone else to do this for you, but it's your application and you're responsible for making sure that your components are all submitted on time. If someone is not responding and not completing their letter, contact us. Let us know. We can replace them with a different recommender, because we don't want you to miss out on this opportunity because a recommender is not fulfilling their obligation for you. So, be an advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid to contact them. Bother them, let them know that you need them to submit their letter, because that is something that's, there are just so many applicants that we haven't been able to review because of recommenders, and it's really not fair. So, be an advocate for yourself, and don't be afraid to replace those recommenders who aren't responding.
Agree with that. It is the number one reason why an application remains incomplete over its turn as well. So definitely ask them early. And I guess another tip I have, this is for the resume part. Get in the habit of quantifying achievements. So whether that's, I increased sales by 10%, or I oversee 15 individuals. Quantifying that is a really good way for us to get a sense of what your achievement is, and how it impacted the organization that you work. It's also just becoming more of an industry standard. So I think getting in the habit of doing that now is just a really good way to have a resume that's set for success in the future as well.
Thanks, all. That's super, super valuable. I do hear again and again from every time we do these panels, and we do them with almost all the schools, just read the admissions requirements and follow the instructions. I think the idea that we're getting so many applications that it's the easiest way to cut people from the process is, if you can't follow instructions here, are you going to follow them in the classroom? So I think that's really good advice. Other things to consider, or just, when you're doing that research, whatever systems work well for you in terms of tracking deadlines. I think being organized in the research in the application process is really valuable. If that's a spreadsheet, a Google Sheet, I'm sure there's some advanced technology out there that can help keep those things in check. But doing what you need to do, again, to Sarah's point, like set those deadlines early, give yourself time, give recommenders time, because it should be an enjoyable process, and that it'll lead to something that's really great. One final thing I'll chime in here is I once had one of our grad students on a panel like this, and they shared, if you sit down to write your personal statement and you can't come up with why you want to go to grad school, that's a good moment to pause and say, maybe now is not the right time. And so I'm going to keep thinking on that. I also wanted to share one more resource before we'll turn it over to our panelists for final closing thoughts, or anything you'd like to share in terms of getting in touch with your office or upcoming events or anything like that. But I'm noticing quite a few questions in the chat that are specific to programs and are very nuanced and specific. So I'm going to send in this chat the link to the NYU Bulletins, which is a resource that's really valuable in searching all the programs at NYU. It houses all of the programs that are available, and you can search, and it shows program of study courses that are available. application requirements are often linked in the bulletin for each program. So this is a really great resource for you to help get a better sense of some of those more specific questions regarding credit hours, or what's part of the application process, or where should I, what should I expect from this program? I think this is an underutilized resource. So I wanted to make sure to share that out with everybody. And as our panelists are pulling together their final thoughts, I will remind everybody that you will get an email from us after today's session with a link to the recording, a chance to provide any feedback that you have. And if you had any lingering questions that we weren't able to get to, feel free to respond to that email. It comes directly to our team, and we can also help connect you out to any of our schools as well. And a big thank you to Maymuna, who I know has been answering questions on the back end, and to all our panelists. Thank you so much for your insight. And so I'll turn it over for final thoughts, or if you just want to share resources about getting in touch with your team, or any upcoming events, please do so now.
Sure. I'm gonna drop some links in the chat. So definitely come to an event. Most of them are virtual, but you'll also have a lot of in-person events. So if you are nearby, it's an excellent opportunity to come and see Stern. You get to see the Kaufman Management Center. We have information sessions, tours, mock classes where we have real professors teaching kind of like a 1-hour preview of what they typically teach to an MBA section. So I definitely encourage you to do that. These are our events for the full-time and focused MBAs. And then I'm also going to drop in the events for the part-time MBAs as well. And yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
So NYU Wagner, we have a lot of events coming up. We have some in-person events and some virtual events. We will be at the NYU Grad Fair on November 2nd. So definitely come to that event and stop by our table for some fun swag and to ask some questions. We're having 2 breakout sessions during the day as well that will focus on our Career Services Center. So if you want to learn more about that, definitely please come. We have an in-person coffee chat that is going to be scheduled for the 29th of October. And we would love for you to be able to come by our new building. We just moved to a beautiful new building on 17th Street, just off of Union Square East. And you'll be able to see the building. You'll also be able to talk to members of our admissions staff and our Career Services Center who will be there as well. Grab a cup of coffee, have a cookie, and ask your admissions questions. And then we have virtual events that are coming up specific to urban planning on Thursday. We have a fellowship specific event on Monday. It's going to be a panel discussion with some of our current fellows so that you'll be able to get some insights into their experience. And we have informational Ask Me Anythings all through the month of November leading up to our December 1st deadline. So please don't hesitate. Contact us, the admissions office, and I think I can speak for John and for Cheryl also. The admissions office, we are here to help you through this process. So please contact us. If you're interested in sitting in on a class, if you're interested in having a one-on-one virtual appointment with me or one of my colleagues, we can help set that up as well. So we are going to be your #1 resource for getting through the graduate admissions process. It's a stressful process, and we want to help make it easy as we can.
I love to piggyback over that. Sarah, we're there to help. I think the biggest advice I can give you is to reach out, get help. We're here to help you. Don't wait till the last minute. If it's no questions, big or small, we're there to help you. If you have that question, then there needs to be an answer, and we're there to help you. Do not wait to the midnight of deadline and you have 1,000 questions. We're here to help you. We'll be at the event as well. Several links I'm going to drop in the chat. We'll give you our event page. That will show you all of our upcoming events. We're currently out on the road, so most of the admissions officers will be doing events from hotel rooms, but we will be there to help you. In addition to that, I wanted to drop in the our program page just so that you can see what degree programs we offer. I realized we did not list them earlier, but also there was a couple of questions regarding STEM. So any program that has a STEM that is STEM designated has STEM part of its name, so you'll be able to determine which program is that. And then the last link I wanted to share with you is the admissions reprocess. and the criteria that we offer. That page also includes the links to companies that we accept evaluations from. So there's a very useful page to be aware of. But once again, the team is here to help you, whether it's by phone or by mail, email, and definitely reach out. We'll be here to help you attain your goals and hopefully make you pilots.
Awesome. Thank you all so much again. And thanks for the plug for the grad fair. Please register if you're local. We'd happy to have you. We also will have some more virtual events, but I do encourage everyone to participate in school-specific events. It's such a big part of the research phase and hearing from students and hearing from faculty and staff about what it is the programs are like, and that'll be the best way to help you figure out if it's right for you. Again, feel free to get in touch with our office. A huge thank you to our panelists for participating and sharing your insight. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you at another event or bringing you to campus very soon. Take care, y'all, and have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Much.